Hello guys and welcome back. I am Elfnet Gaming, and as promised, this is the video on the MTS2000 Rebanded 800 MHz radio that I ordered from the eBay. This is how it arrived. It is in fairly decent condition. I mean, it is well acceptable. It does have property and a number on the back, which alludes to me, with my communications expertise and working with police departments, that this probably belonged in the property room of a police department somewhere. Now, the radio came from Florida, so it's very possible that the police department there had it, and etc. I do have a battery that is charged. We'll put that on. And I've got the side cover and, of course, the antenna for 800 megahertz. So I'm not going to put side cover on because we're going to be programming this radio. But first we're going to turn it on, make sure it all comes on. Okay, we've got channel 1. We've got transmit. It's obviously it's going to be conventional. So I'm going to move this over here. You'll see the frequency counter maybe right here. And we'll transmit 806.01125. 0125 probably, more or less, is the frequency on here. So in order to program this radio, you're of course going to need the Motorola Rib. Said I wasn't going to put that on there because I'm going to be programming it. Excuse me. I still have this one. This is the one I took the antenna off, and I put another battery on it. It got a little bit of a charge on. But first, I want to see if I can clone the data from this radio into this radio. It'll be a lot easier just to clone that code plug. In order to program these radios, you're going to need a Motorola cable or build your own cable. The number I got, this is for the HT1000, and you need the Motorola Rib. The RKN, it's Romeo Kilo November 4035 Delta is the Motorola part number of this cable, I assume. It's also the test cable for a test set. This part goes on the radio, and this part goes to the Motorola Rib, which I have handy here. I keep one on the bench and one in my laptop bag. So I'm going to plug this 25 pin into the radio box. And I'm going to hook up the original radio. Now, I don't know if this is going to read this because this has that bad ribbon cable. Computer screen up there, excuse me, is going to need to be, I'm going to have to start the MTSX program, which I need to find it. So, excuse me. While I'm doing that, I'm going to cut the video and get all that started. I may have to start the other computer for this. I don't know. But either way, I will be back in just a moment. Alright guys, just real quick, I want to run down how you get your talk group information, your control channel, system ID, and connect tone for a analog trunking system. RadioReference.com should have that in the databases. It's updated by scanner people, radio technicians, ham radio guys. Update this site pretty regular. The system that I'm setting it to is my county system, which is analog. It shows a system ID and a connect tone. These are important if you want the radio to authenticate and sync up and work. Scanner radios don't need this information, but a two-way radio does. System ID is not something that you can just put in. I do have a tool that makes these system ID keys. They're called systems keys. You have to have that file in your MTSX program under the system key directory for it to be able to be changed. Otherwise, those areas would be locked out. Scrolling down, you'll get system frequencies, and in programming a scanner radio you would put all of these in. But if you're programming a two-way radio like like this radio here. I have my backlight off. The Motorola MTS, you're only going to put in the ones in red and blue. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 on this system here that I will put in. Scrolling down, we start getting into the talk groups, and these are the mutual aid talk groups here. And what you want to pay attention to, if you have a scanner radio, you're going to put in this DEC, this decimal. That's talk group ID for a scanner. For a two-way radio, you'll put in this hex, and here's the alpha tag, and it tells you what it is. I'm not going to scroll down and show any more of the others, because it's basically the same thing, just for different services. But yeah, that's basically the information that you need to work with the older analog stuff. The newer digital stuff is very similar to this. You just need the control channels, and what happens in this radio is it takes the data from the control channel and synchronizes up the rest of these frequencies. And if your radio has not been rebanded, then you hear those random bursts of static because it can't lock into certain frequencies here that aren't part of the data stream. So yeah, I'm also having to start up the Windows 98 computer. The other one I forgot doesn't like doing MTSX. It doesn't like to read the radio, so I have that one started. I'm going to get the code plug information and try to get it into that radio, and I will be right back. Okay, scrub the idea of the DOS computer. This radio, where I got it from, used the newer Windows-based CPS for this version, and the MTS2000 CPS. And that's the frequency it's currently in it. Transmit on 806.0125, which was verified by the frequency counter. There's no squelch, it's CSQ, and it receives on 851.0625. I think that's just the test frequency that the shop had put in. But so what I'm going to do, I've got to go and get my system keys off of the DOS computer. I do have a thumb drive for that, and I've put them on this laptop that I'm using now. I really don't like using laptops for this, but oh well, it is what it is. So yeah, I'll be back. I figure what the hell, I'm just going to turn on the backlight again. Here's this. Here's the radio plugged in on channel 1. We're here on the computer, and I'm going to hit read. That's the radio, bleeped at me. Shaky camera is going to ensue because I'm holding it. It's going to take it a minute. There's saying that it's authenticated, and here we are. We're on this menu. Now, we know it's got a conventional mode, a conventional personality, excuse me. That would be this stuff here. So that's not what I'm wanting. I want trunking, and I'm going to start. Okay, so it's rebanding enabled, so the radio has been rebanded. Alright. The trunking system 1. Okay, now this is where I need to seven, 3A. And I think that would do that, and we'll put in the connect tone. This is a type 2i. It's using a system key. The same information from radio reference. I have a program to make a key. You put in the key and it will allow you to use it, and it will auto check. You put in the connect tone. Coverage type is, I believe, going to be that. And then we'll switch over to control channels, and I'll add these in. There's, oh, wait a minute. Jeez. Okay, let's see if I can add in. It won't let me change it. So yeah, I'll do that. Be back. Alright guys. We're back. As you can see, I've entered in 9 trunking personalities. These are different groups, talk groups. Well, no, I can't do anything yet. And the radio is currently programming. I probably should not have clicked that. Okay, right, successful. Okay, so the radio is booting back up now. And it's working. So personalities are basically this. You have in your system ID and key, system type, protocol type 2, SmartNet, individual ID, and all of that. That I still got to go back and change that. That's not my ID. That's a different one. I think it's the default ID that was in here. I'm going to change that to the one that I'm assigned to, and after the video is over and recorded. All this other stuff, failsoft, advanced, wacky, is a subfleet phone scan, emergency, all that I don't enter in. The talk groups I do, and talk groups in hex that I've mentioned in the radio reference page you saw. These are the hex decimal numbers, 15 talk groups, and room for one. Ooh, what was that? One conventional channel on the end to make the 16. I'm not putting a conventional in, so yeah. Once you get that set up, you got to go down here to zone channel assignment. And you got to set these up. Now, you'll set your, if you don't have zones, you'll create a new zone with the plus. You'll name it here. It has about 4 positions. You can make them bigger if your channel names need to get shorter, etc., etc. You can play with that. I name this one alt because these are alternate service channels here, and you'll click channels, and here you see I put in airport 1, 2, personality type is trunking, personality number is 8, talk group 1, here's the hex decimals down the list here. We were just on personality 8 a minute ago, or 9, was it 9? No, it was whichever. Anyway, you'll keep these in order is the easiest way. Personality 8, 1, 2, whatever. Anyway, I've got all this stuff here, the names, these are editable. You could put these in on your own. The trunking, if it's conventional, like my own channels here. I have these. These are the ones we use to shop. And personality type is conventional and 1. And these are entered in as just conventional frequencies. And you got that in. And then if you so wish, you can edit in scan lists. And I have 10 scan lists here. Here's scan list 8. Again, personality 8 for scan list 8 is going to be talk group scan. And the list, of course, it's only allowing for 10. So you put in the ones that you want to pick up on scan. Back up here with, well, we're using personality 8 as an example, by the way. Make sure that you click scan and you select scan list selection. After you created your list, you create for this personality the appropriate scan list. So that would be list 8. If you don't do that, the radio will not go into scan. That's about all I can share with trunking. Next would be buttons and switches. Switches, I have it set up this way. Rotary controls the channel control, of course. We don't have 2-position concentric. Actually, I do. 2-position concentric is the... I thought that was a 2-position toggle. There's your channel. Here's your 2-position concentric switch right here. that I'm going to set to keypad lock on position B. And I'm going to set that keypad lock on trunking and conventional. So position A, my 6 buttons will be unlocked. If I put it over here with just a Z, with just the O, the keypad is locked. If I switch it back to the one with the line through it, it's unlocked. And that will keep from bumping these buttons around. Right now it's not locked. I gotta reprogram that. Next, we 3-position toggle. I misread that. Position A, typically I keep blank, normal operation, no scan, just per channel. PL tone is enabled, etc., etc. Position B on conventional is PL disabled. On trunking, I'm going to leave it blank. Conventional for position C is scan, and for trunking is scan. And that means right now it's in position C, so it's scanning. And you know the radio is scanning because you'll see this little arrow Z lightning bolt looking deal there. If I move it up to position A or B, it goes away. So it's scanning now on the City PD channels. I still have the programming cable connected to it. And that's how you set up your toggle switches there. Buttons are the same. The top button being this orange button, usually an emergency feature button, but it's reprogrammable, and I set that to display light. So when I press this button, the backlight comes on the radio. You can't see it because of the camera. Side button 1 upper is the green. That's set to scan, nuisance, delete. And button 2 I've got in the middle for conventional monitor. Nothing's programmed on trunking. And bottom button 3, nothing is programmed there. Now this is the best way that I found to do this. There are other options: phone, scan, volume, set tone, dynamic priority, MPL if you want to set that up for conventional. And over here is a site, lock, unlock, page, private call. Yeah, I don't set any of those because I'm not using any of those features on the systems. I'm just using these with work and etc. Radio wide is all your this stuff, you know, your battery, LEDs, timeout, timers, alert tones, etc., etc. It's all pretty standard. Secure configuration. The radio, it does have a secure thing in it, I believe. I don't use it. There's not a need for it. The system isn't secure, so I'm not going to use that. But if you have it and you want to set up a secure thing, go for it. Phone, DTMF, phone list, all that, you can set that up if you need it. Controls, buttons, and switches. This apparently the concentric didn't take. Why? That's interesting. Well, anyway, I'll just reset it. Keypad lock, and close. There's that. Radio configuration is done. Here's the information about the radio and the tracking and etc., etc. And yeah, that's basically programming. You know, with the CPS thing, it's a lot easier than the DOS. It's a lot of point and click. So make some coffee and get to it, you know. And then, of course, this is on COM3. I've got it laptop. It's running through a serial interface, and there's the rib there, the cable on my extremely cluttered little tiny workbench here. So now I'm going to go in and zap this radio again with the updated stuff. That will be this icon here. It says right device. And it'll make that funky noise. And it'll say programming. And you just wait for it to get done, reboot, and should be good to go. Once that's done, I'm going to cut the video and then go back and we'll go through the radio and its menu features, etc. So we'll be back with that. Yes, and we are finally done with all of that programming. To program all those talk groups and zones and stuff took me about 45 minutes. I'm pretty quick with the computer. It may take others longer. I don't know. It is a lot of information to kind of put in, but I've loaded this radio up with everything in the county has, plus my own channels. I did go and add our trunking talk groups for radio service in here. Those were not shown in the previous clip. And I fixed my identification number in here as well. So yeah, a lot of things. Those things have happened. And anyway, we'll go through here. Right now, the system is locked. The concentric is there, and it's locked, and that means the keypad is locked. I can't change it. The only thing I can do is that I can push the talk, which I'm not going to transmit. Some of these channels I'm probably not supposed to transmit on, though I am authorized through the system, but I'm not going to do that because it just, no, it's not cool. So anyway, I have unlocked it, put it concentric over, I've unlocked it. Oh, now it's unlocked. And I go zone, which if I hit one of these buttons, there's zone, and that's alt, hospitals, the main channels are mine. That I know I can transmit on and be just fine because it's still here. Now, there's the PD, county, prison, fire, city fire, mutual aid interoperability channels, county fire, district 1, county police, these are rural police agencies, alternate services, the airport, hospitals, and we just went back. There's about 10 zones here, so. And power, high power, you can select low or high power here if you wanted to do that. That's a conventional setting. We'll go here. And they're very quiet.
136976. 1829.
They are. They're talking now. Well, kind of quiet tonight for a Saturday. Well, but maybe it's not late enough for all the action to begin. So we'll go back here. Here we can select power. We can view scan list. We can view that. Oh, view scan. We got it on scan. So calling. And this is a scan list program. We can take channels in and out of scan if we wanted to there. So that's about it for that. High and low power zone. Zone is mainly the one that you want to be using. You definitely, when you have one of these, you want them to multi-zone this radio, get the most out of it, even if they're UHF or VHF. When this is an 800 megahertz one, you can have a multi-zone with different agencies if your area still uses those bands and those modulations, analog. And with VHF and UHF, you can also have GMRS and amateur and other things put in different zones, and you can change them. Just leave the transmit feature out on the public service or other frequencies that you're not authorized to transmit on. These are good solid radios of the Jedi series. I'm pleased with this. I will be getting this radio, I think, if I can find another case. Oh, 6 button put on this. get rid of this case because it's toasted. The ribbon, again, the ribbon is broken between the side and the radio, so it cannot be programmed unless I swap cases on it. But if I can get a 6-button case cheaper than what I can get a rebanded radio, I'll do that and try to fix this radio back up. And it does need some knobs, but this radio here, I'll put just the conventional channels in. I'm not going to load it up with all this other stuff because, like I said, they'll be used on the sites with other communications companies. Well, actually, I would put in the Shrunking Personality and that one talk group of ours in there with my conventional channels. At conventions that if we go to, like DEF CON or VidCon, PAX, things like that, we may use these, or I may just use the UHF. I don't know, I'll probably just use the UHFs. I'll use my yellow ones or something up there and maybe reprogram one of these to the local PD or something in Anaheim or whatever, but that's still up in the air. This is basically was my review, and tried to keep it simple, walk through the programming of the MTS2000 Flashport, a rebanded 800 megahertz trunking radio. It's working, though the PD and everybody is awfully quiet tonight. But it does work. You heard it work. It doesn't have the random bursts of static as mentioned in the last video that this radio is plagued with. And that's another thing with this radio. I would have to get this radio reflashed. I don't have my smart rib here. It's out west, and I could get it sent back, but for me to get this radio flash is $75. I literally bought this radio for under $20. So again, I reminded myself why this is going into the junk drawer. I'll also have to be ordering another battery because now I'm short a battery. I could use the battery. I think, no, the battery on this radio is shot as well. It doesn't hold a charge well, so I'm going to be ordering some more HT1000 batteries. So that's that. Anyway, if you found this video useful, entertaining at the very least, be sure to leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment. If you have any questions, things like that, leave them down below. And as always with the comments, be nice and civil about it. Excuse me. Hatred and trolling and other things like that won't even see the light of day. You know my rules. I know my rules. If you haven't subscribed already, please feel free to do that. It's completely free, even though YouTube is on its way to dying horribly. I'm not one of these people that does this for money. I do this because I feel the education is more important than the money. And for people to know and share ideas and experiences is far more valuable than earning revenue on a platform that is now, after 8 years, 9 years, starting to enforce their own rules. Anyway, yeah, I am Elf with Elfnet Gaming, and I will see you guys in the next video.